What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh yeah.
I am Brandon. This is Andrew, and today we have got a fun versus for you. This is going to be pretty interesting because I'm going to end up doing this all on the fly today. I didn't write anything but the categories down.
Sometimes that's the funnest thing to do.
Yeah, so because I'm not even 100% sold on them, I think I know which way we're all leaning. I think I know which way I'm leaning, obviously. But it's gonna be interesting with these categories if I can really, if it's really going to determine. That's the case for me. I've always been more of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze fan. I love the first one, but I still probably prefer the second one. But we're gonna figure out if it's the better film or not.
Yeah.
So, most people seem to like it better. Some people like 3, like, a lot better. I don't know why, but they do. So today, on the episode, on Versus, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Both of these, Andrew, this is some really, really good early 90s, late 80s feeling still kind of too, but early 90s, like, fun action movies.
And I hadn't watched these since we did our original Turtles podcast like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I watched them in the last 2 nights, and I watched them with my wife, and she actually really enjoyed them.
Really?
Which kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they still hold up.
For everybody, man.
To guys like us, or a woman who you wouldn't normally think would like these kind of movies.
Today, like, it's still my favorite iteration of the Turtles to this day. Like, those first 3 movies, especially those first 2,
Mm-hmm.
Other than like the original like late 80s cartoon that we grew up on. That's the one. That's my favorite depiction of the Turtles, if in cartoon form and in movie form. These are it.
Not the Michael Bay versions.
I'm not. No. No, I still need to watch the new one. I've heard good things, but like I don't know. There's something that will always be special. There's just the way these films were shot. The score. I love the score in both of these films. They were fun. Just awesome, man, all the way around. This could be difficult. I don't know. It's like they're both. No matter what, I can't take away from either one of them.
Yeah, I can make an argument either way for all these categories.
I think so. So, starting off with the first one, let me see. Let me pull up a couple things here. I know the first one was 1990. It came out in 1990. And the second one was a year later.
Yeah.
Like 91.
Yeah, immediately into production. And had twice the budget, I believe.
It's just crazy that they can get so much more, it's not like a super different feeling, but you could tell it's more of a budget. Like, you could tell that it's that step in the next in the next level, right? That was between just the way it looks. It's not as quite as gritty or grainy. It's a little bit more vibrant and colorful. It's a lot more fun. There's more stuff going on, it feels like. But it's just so crazy to think that they were able to take that and do that within a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say they wanted to do these movies for a little bit, but I want to say that it was maybe Hell Comes to Frogtown, with the giant toads.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper. Animatronic heads that kind of showed them they could pull this off.
Yeah.
Which it's not nearly as good, technically as these movies are. But I want to say that's the movie. I could be wrong.
With that said, the budget from the first one is like $13.5 million.
Yeah.
Which, isn't really chump change. It's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, for a little kids movie.
Yeah, and you can tell that they were able to get a lot more in the second one because it made $202 million. Isn't that wild? That is so wild. The second one was $25 million in budget, $78.7 million in the box office. So it did not do as well.
That's probably why the third one was a little lower on budget.
Probably so. Yeah, because these all have a little bit different feel to them.
Yep.
And the third one is definitely lesser of the feel, I think, to me.
Although I do like the fact that I believe a lot of that was filmed there in Astoria, Oregon, where they filmed like the Goonies.
Oh, really?
Like those beach scenes where they're on horses and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so I do like that each one of them has especially that one has its own feel.
Yeah, I do too. I just didn't feel that feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As much in that third one. So I guess we can get into the categories here, just to get the ball rolling a little bit farther. You have story, setting, characters, acting, and action. So pretty much the same, just in a little bit different order, as our normal movies.
Yeah.
For the most part, we did add characters, instead of, what was it that we replaced? I think an antagonist or something, because they're both Shredder, basically.
Yeah, because there's a lot of cartoon characters like in this
Right.
series, so I thought that would be a little more interesting to go through all of those, than just basically talk about Shredder and Super Shredder.
Yeah, Super Shredder, hell yeah.
Yeah. And we've got Chris's picks today. Chris is he's a bigger Ninja Turtles fan than me and Brandon, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got his picks, and it's very interesting how he did his picks. So.
Okay. I can't wait to hear him, because he does prefer the third one even more than these two, I think. Let's see. So right away you're going to see something different too, because it's not just there's which we'll go on about it here in just a few. But not only are there different characters in each of these movies, but one of them that is the same is a different actress.
Yeah.
So they end up changing April O'Neil, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's get into the story. That's first category. And we're going to talk this out a minute because I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to pick.
Yeah. Yeah, you want me to go ahead and go first?
Go right ahead.
So you basically have an origin story with the first story, or the second story's got a little origin with the Ooze too.
Right.
But, it's more about the Ooze and what they're going to do with it. I chose the first movie.
Yeah.
As far as story, I like what's going on there. As far as everything's kind of done more at night.
It is.
I like that. It's a little more like the cartoon as far as they're ninjas. They're trying not to be seen. A little more noirish. And
it is.
I like that origin story just a little bit more than I like what's going on in Secret of the Ooze.
I agree. I actually agree with you. I that's a good point. I'm going to pick that as well. I'm going to pick TMNT 1 on that as well, because and I'll tell you why. Very similar to what you said. It's just darker.
Yeah.
It's darker. It's more personable. You have that relationship between Splinter and Shredder. Obviously this Foot Clan, you've got, Danny was an interesting enough character as well, who's kind of infiltrated this. He's kind of this kid who just doesn't feel like he's belong. He's tired. He's mad at his dad. His dad's really strict, and he falls in just kind of with the wrong crowd, ends up in the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that the Foot's taking these rough and tough kids, or some of the forgotten kids. Maybe they don't have parents, or maybe they just they're outcasts, and they've created this little scenario for them, this area where they can game and hang out and just kind of be little miniature adults. And you don't need your parents. You only need Shredder.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect. I love the darkness to it.
It's darker in the fact that they actually capture Splinter in this one. And
That's
hung up
yeah,
for days.
Right. That's actually what more I mean. And they burn April's apartment down where they were staying eventually, and they had to basically run off into the woods, into this remote cabin. I think it was April's remote cabin of some sort. That I really like that, man. It's it's kind of it follows a very cliche action style thing where you get beat, and then you have to go into hiding, and you have to get ready and go face your adversary at the end. But I love that.
Yeah.
But the darkness of this is great, and Judith Hoag as April O'Neil is awesome in this.
Yeah,
I love
real feisty.
Real feisty. I love Judith Hoag all around.
Yeah. Chris actually went the other way. He went TMNT 2. As you'll see with a lot of his picks. he loves that movie.
Yeah.
And thinks it's the perfect Turtles movie.
Yeah. I mean, I would be inclined to agree, but when you really think about these categories, I think just a little bit differently, at least on this one.
And I like one other thing we didn't mention. I like the whole subplot where they get their butts kicked, and of course that building's on fire. They've got Raph that's out of commission.
Yes.
They have to go regroup.
Yeah.
I like that they're just not all invincible in this movie.
How about Raph though, man? He's like the most sensitive one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even though he's like the kind of the feistiest one, he's the mean one.
Yeah.
He's kind of the bully. You know, you feel like he's tough, but he's just a front. Like he's just real sensitive,
Yeah.
man. He's taking off. But you know, you get that famous, you know, coat, the trench coat and the hat.
Old bogey.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Well, so we've got a winner in story on that first category to the first Turtles movie.
Yeah.
So 2-1 outvoted, buddy. No, I think it just edges out just a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like Turtles 2, where you know they're doing more with the Ooze and they create Toka and Razor and yeah, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, on to setting. So
Do you know what you're going to choose on this one? I'm still trying to talk this one out to myself.
So in setting, I love, like, you got the cabin, you know, you got that kind of the shelter, the safety, home away from home kind of thing. I love that. I love the fight on the top of the building in town. I love the visuals in this town. You know, you got the park with Casey Jones.
You've also they've got the hideout there with all the kids.
The kids hide out, the arcade and the skating and all that stuff. I think that's pretty cool. You got Splinter tied up in there. Oh man, April's. I don't know. Like I think I don't know if it's because it's visually better or what. I kind of lean towards Turtles 2. You know, you have the factory that they broke into with all the the glitzy lights and the old computers.
Oh
and
yeah.
you had to fight in
Beeping
there
and booping. Yeah.
and beeping and booping and bopping. And I really like the new train, the underground
Station.
subway station. You know, like the little hideout that they find.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I like it. I like the dock there at the end, you know, where they find Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. Yes, Vanilla Ice is
And I want to say,
who just thought up of a turtle song just like that.
yeah, he's
Just real.
hey, I got something.
I got an idea, man.
I actually got on Setlist FM where you can see what your favorite artists are playing.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice plays Ninja Rap to this day.
Really?
Yes,
That's
it is
awesome.
in his set.
That is awesome. It's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah.
That's a claim to fame, man.
I love that recycling center, their fallback, you know, from
Yes.
the first movie.
Yeah, that little junkyard.
Yeah, where
I
they have
love
Toka
that.
and Razor.
Yeah.
And they fight out there in the front. I like that. I think I'm going to have to go too.
Yeah, I think I am too. The reason why there's another scene, and then it's just the way I think it's the way the score hits, and I think it's just some of the visual shots, the cinematography in this. But there's one scene, and it scared the hell out of me, kind of as a kid. But the scene where Shredder he just came back, and Raph, and I think did Raph go by himself? Who went with
Keno?
It was Keno, and was it Raph with
Yeah.
Keno? Okay,
Yeah.
so when Raph and Keno first go to the junkyard to figure out, like, to see what's going on, I guess they try to, like, sneak in, and you know, well, Raph looks over and sees what he like a shadow of Shredder walking down
I
that
saw
hall.
a ghost.
Yeah, you think I saw a ghost, and then just the music and the way that visual looked, I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Just creepy. But yeah, Shredder's a bad. Of course, you know, Shredder's got the new helmet in this, and it's got more of like the edges, like the razor edges on it. You know, where they were just more like just a straight cut on the old one from the first one. So he looked more sinister in this one.
Which was good. I never felt like they got his look just perfect in either one of these
No,
movies,
they didn't.
But,
No.
But yeah, probably a little better in the second one.
Yeah, I love his voice in these, especially in the second one though. I challenge, baby, baby. Oh. So I guess that'll lead us into the characters. Speaking of, I guess that goes to 2 because I'm sure he picked 2.
Yeah. He picked 2 as well. It was a landslide for 2 there.
Yeah, I think as much as I think that story, while the setting and everything that works really well within that first one. It's not super original, even at this point.
Yeah.
Definitely not looking back, but I think it's well grounded. I think it's well rounded. I think it's the story fits really well as the first one winning story makes sense. But in the setting, I think just because it lends itself so well to the action and everything else going on, I think that's a good pick. So characters, with the first one, you've got Judith Hogue as April O'Neil, and then in the second one, you have Turco,
Paige Turco.
Paige Turco, You have Casey Jones in the first one, which I really love. Casey Jones, the character, especially
that actor.
The actor's so awesome. And then in the second one, you have you have the Tokar Razor, you have the doctor, the scientist. I really like him.
You have Keno, Ernie Reyes Jr.
You have Keno. Love Keno in this movie. Just right from that opening scene where he's up to no good. Like he's this pizza delivery boy, but he's been studying. He knows martial arts. Obviously, I don't know if that's racist to have like this little Filipino guy, the Asian guy knowing martial arts automatically, but it fits really well. But he has that, and he's willing to take down some Foot Clan. He needs some help by the he gets it saved, but
he's more than willing.
Yeah, he's more than willing. Yeah. So I love the character of Keno. Casey's just kind of like that. He's that perfect grunge character who just like, I'm not afraid of anything. Let's do it. But he's also kind of like small. I don't know. He's a wisecracker.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you prefer as far as characters here?
I'm kind of leaning towards one. I like Raph's character a little more in one. I think he's got more to bite into there.
Yeah.
With the Bogart character.
Yeah.
And him and Casey Jones have a nice meeting there in the park with the thugs.
Yeah.
I like Casey Jones a lot. But I'm kind of torn because I know you like Judith Hoag. I kind of like Paige Turco as my April. She looks more like the character from the actual cartoon.
Right.
And I've read, and I think I said this in our original podcast, that Judith Hoag, the reason why she wasn't asked back is because she kind of, in some interviews, talked down about the violence in the first movie.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. And so she wasn't asked back for the sequels.
Yeah.
You've got Toka and Razar there. But there in that first movie, you've got the characters of Danny and his dad that kind of help drive that story along.
Yeah. I can kind of see that. I can kind of see where you're coming from, because I think the characters might have been a little more colorful and excitable in the second one. Does that make sense? I think that's what you get, because you get Keno, and I think everything fits really well in both movies. But I think you're right too. I think the characters really play into the story aspect really well, probably better in the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man,
I'm gonna go one. I really like two, and I almost feel uneasy with that decision, but I'm gonna go one.
Yeah. And
Chris, of course, went two. So
right.
It's all up to you now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on that. I think I'm going to have to go one just a little bit. As much as I love Keno, I love that scientist. There's not really. I mean, Keno's really strong. I like Keno, and I do like Paige Turco a lot too. I think she is she's a good actress. She's pretty. She kind of fits that April character really better. I think she slid into that role really well. And I know we're bleeding into acting too on this, so it shouldn't take that long to get through acting. But
another point against me taking one, I think Splinter had more to do in two. Actually, with at one point they've got the turtles, in this trap, and they're bringing them over all these spikes, and he shoots them down with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, he does that. Because he's more or less just worried about hiding, and then he's captured in the first one.
Yeah,
but it means more.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I think just because I have to think about, like you said, I think you have to think about the story and how they fit into it. I think I'm going to go the first one.
Yeah.
I think I have to. But, yeah, doesn't take much away from the second one, because it's overall just a fun movie. And, getting into acting, I'm going to have to probably go with the first one, too. And we can talk about it a little bit more. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty close. I think, because again, with the characters in the story and how Raph was really good in that, even though he's really dramatic.
Yeah.
I thought it meant something when these boys, all they've ever known was Splinter, and they have a lot of fun. Obviously, they love pizza, but I think when he gets captured, their whole world crumbles.
Yeah. And
it's just they meet April, obviously. But then her apartment's burned, and everything's just in despair. They're worried about Splinter. They lose a hideout. They lose because the Foot Clan found their hideout in the sewer. So they have no hideout there. They have no hideout in the city with April. Everything just gets flipped, turned upside down, Fresh Prince style, and it's it's not good. They're going, they got to go live with auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
Yeah.
and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. Out in the country where Casey Jones and April kind of
hit it off.
Yeah, they kind of fall for each other just a little bit there.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy when you think about where the hell was he at? Even the character at in the second one.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bummer. He comes back in the third one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the cartoon. He wasn't in every episode.
Right.
He was just
kind of hanging around. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with everything you said. Like I said earlier, I like that Raph had a little bit more to do. I really like the second one. I think there's a lot of good acting in the second one.
I love Keno.
Shredder.
I love Keno. I think he does a great job here. Ernie Reyes Jr. is awesome. I think Paige Turco does a great job. That dude that plays a scientist is always good in everything. There's enough humor in this to keep. I don't know. It's really, really good. I just think that obviously if we didn't have these categories, it might go a little bit differently. But we always have these categories for the most part in these verses, and I think that out of everything, all these connect so well together.
Yeah. So we're going one, I guess.
I'm going one.
Yeah. I think
that's just crazy because like I said at the beginning, I prefer two.
Yeah.
And setting, you could even say setting goes really well with everything.
Yeah.
But the more vibrant, the more action and stuff is involved. I don't know. I think
And Chris, of course, went 2.
Yeah.
So 2-1 there.
I mean, we're looking at a winner in the exact opposite direction. I thought this was going to be a landslide for 2.
So you start thinking about the story and the impact of the characters, and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, if you don't have these categories, it might, like I said, it might turn out different. Because I'm definitely going to pick action and Terminator. I'm going to pick Terminator. I'm going to pick TMNT 2 for action because it has more action and it's fun.
Way more.
But yeah, I think there's just something to be said about that first one with story, and that kind of ruins 2's chances of really winning this thing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I mean, for those purists out there that loved the first one, you're welcome. Because I still prefer 2 over because I prefer the fun over even though I do love the story, I'll still watch them back to back.
Given the choice, I would watch 2 before I watched 1.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because if I'm just wanting something fun, I'll watch 2 every time. But if I want a 1-2 punch, I'll watch both of them, or I'll watch one. Just I will say that like I said, that score in both of them is good, but that opening scene with the score, and I don't know, it's just cool, man. Yeah. You got people, the pizza place, and the show in New York. It's just really.
Yeah. We didn't talk a whole lot about action. What's your favorite action scene? Chris actually sent me a little bit of a message there. That opening scene in the mall.
Yes.
Where Keno's
absolutely love it.
Finds the foot soldiers.
So fun.
He says that's the perfect scene for Ninja Turtles.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
To open a movie and for Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I love everything about it.
I love the toys. The hey,
hey Mikey, Will Fortune dude.
Yeah,
that whole thing.
I love it. Yeah, that's a perfect scene. I love all of that. I love the fighting in the junkyard in the Splinter Save was awesome.
Yeah.
When you come down to the final fight with and the thing is the Shredder fight in the first one was it meant more. It was better. Obviously it had Shredder in it, but with Tokon Razor, it was kind of a goofy thing. Had to get these donuts that they injected it with, the serum.
They're belching all over
the place, and
I do love those characters. Mama.
Yeah, and even though it wasn't really a fight, that Super Shredder scene was awesome.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah. Before he was even big, man, he was Super Shredder.
Yeah.
But I love, dude. That was a cool scene as a kid. Even though he basically brought the house down on himself and defeated himself, that was cool for a minute.
Yeah.
Man, that was cool. But yeah, no. All in all, man. Even though action goes to that movie, I can't. I don't know. I can't knock the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in shock. This is kind of like how I felt about when we did the hidden versus I Come in Peace.
Yeah.
I prefer one just a little bit more, but when it comes down to the categories, it's like, okay,
That's
what you get.
And that's kind of why we do this with the categories. We try to make it as fair as possible. Sometimes it's not always clear cut, but I really thought it was going to be 2, and it's not. It's crazy.
We're in shock a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, wow, is this even going to be how quick of an episode is this going to be? But anyways, if there's nothing else, man, what do we got coming down the pike, you think? We still got to talk vampires.
We got to talk vampires. We've been promising that for a while.
Yeah.
We've been talking Mad Max a little bit.
Mad Max, yeah. We could maybe do it Mad Max versus vampires versus.
I've been wanting to do for our Warehouse B peeps, maybe Trancers versus 1 versus 2.
Oh yeah, Trancers versus.
You still got to see 2. It's
I need
much
to.
fun.
Yeah, we'll do Trancers 1 versus 2 soon.
Yeah.
We'll do that, and that'll be something to look forward to down the pike here real soon. So I think that's going to do it today for this episode, and we'll catch you all down the line.
Cowabunga says it all.